The Halloween gods were angry. They came down upon me and said, "What are you doing? You can't show that. You can't show those behind the scenes images and video." It's the video, really. It's the video. It was the video that did it. And I knew there was a good chance it might. But I wanted to take the risk anyway, and I thought I could get in and get out before there was a ding. And I almost did. There was literally about 15 seconds, and then I was going to stop. And I was going to hope that the algorithms were like, hey, what? Where'd it go? Where'd what go? I swear to God, there was somebody fucking showing Halloween fucking shit in here. You sure? Yeah, I'm fucking positive, man. They were showing the whole fucking thing. They were revealing shit that shouldn't be revealed. You sure? Are you sure? Yes, it was here just a second ago. I was so close. I was so close to getting in and out. But nonetheless, this is what happens, folks. This is the risk you sometimes take. A little surprised that they, it's behind the scenes stuff. Somebody was probably like, "Dave, what are you doing? You don't own that." No. It's true. I don't own those. I don't own the behind the scenes B-roll. It's very true. And I was really hoping to make millions off it, but hey, it happens. Cody May says, YouTube dies tonight. Yes, YouTube dies tonight. Anyway, we'll see if all those people that were were there before rolled in. Anyway, the first part is still there. You can still watch it. The crazy thing is that had I just uploaded a video of me watching it, then it probably would have been fine. It's sometimes when you stream things that you don't own, you can get dinged pretty fast. But if I was just uploaded a pre-recorded video and I was doing the exact same thing, wouldn't have, or it may have. I mean, they may have been like, "Oh, hey, you don't own that," or whatever. But it certainly wouldn't have interrupted the stream. It happens. My apologies for the inconvenience. But hey, like I said, I had a knock at the door. I swear to God, I had a knock at the door. There were two guys there. They were dressed in black suits. And one was named Miguel. One was named Billy. Well, actually, his name was William, but he went by Billy. Sunglasses, fedoras, the whole thing. And they were like, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" And I was like, "Listen, I'm sorry. I know I don't own it, but I was really excited about it. I wanted to share it. We're just going through it." And they're like, "Yeah, well, it doesn't fucking matter. You're fucking. We just can't fucking do that." Well, okay, all right then, fine. And they spanked me and then they went away. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about, if you don't know what we're talking about here, go watch part 1, okay? And then come back and watch this, because this will now be the discussion. To be honest with you, I gotta be honest with you. I could not have been dinged. That sounds awful. I could not have been copyright dinged during a live stream at a more perfect spot, because it was at the very end. And then I was going to break into, the discussion and the Q&A anyway. So it would have been really strange and kind of weird if it had happened like right at the beginning and like, "Oh, fuck, I still want to show you. What am I going to do? How I got the photos." But it actually happened at the very end. So it's kind of like, well, I was done anyway. Anyway. Okay, so let's talk about what we saw. Let's discuss what we saw in that BTS and in the photos. As you can clearly see, as I said at the beginning of the stream, the last stream, we are in a position now where I think that everything is leading towards what we think it's going to be. And now it just comes down to execution. Am I surprised that they have released this kind of stuff now? A little bit. I admit I'm surprised, not by the TV spots. That's par for the course. And I know that releasing B-roll and, featurettes and all that, it can be too. But because they've played this so close to the vest, a little surprised that the 5-minute BTS was released. I'm a little surprised by that. Not the interviews with David Gordon Green, Jamie Lee Curtis, Andy Matichek, not all. I mean, that's par for the course. They're going to say shit where you're going to go, ooh, That's it. It's now's about the time to release that shit. But I'm a little surprised with the B-roll, because there's some stuff in there that is very telling. And, I know that Christopher Nelson, and shout out to him. Awesome dude. I know that he recently said on an episode of The Thing with Two Heads, he said that, listen, you guys are analyzing, you don't know anything. Stop. I don't know, Chris. I respect you. I think you're an amazing dude, talented, Academy Award winner. But unless I'm in like Michael Douglas's The Game, David Fincher's The Game, starring Michael Douglas, unless I'm in some sort of weird and I'm gonna go and watch this movie and be like, whoa, no, it's nothing like it makes me think that maybe some of the things that Christopher Nelson was hearing were things that were just absurd things, like the real far out there shit that sometimes makes the rounds, right? I don't know. You'd hear something like, oh, maybe the whole thing is a dream and Lori wakes up and it's an entire alternate reality, like all that kind of shit, right? That you've heard before. Maybe Chris has just been hearing that kind of shit and he's like, no, guys, no. Stop. You don't know anything. And then it makes sense why he would say that. But I have a very hard time believing that a lot of the stuff that we've been piecing together here, and to be fair, look, I know we're Halloween nerds and I know that we dissect the shit out of the stuff. We do. I do it, you do it, we all do it. And I understand that. But at the end of the day, it's not like, it didn't take much. When you have a character that has two of his, and that's where it really all began, right? It really all started in the teaser trailer with when Corey, presumably, Corey opens the door and we see all the hand, we see all the fingers. Now, to be fair, nobody had to zoom up to analyze that. Nobody had to fucking go in and brighten up the image and get all sweaty and deep into the nerdism. And I think that maybe if you analyze the little pixel, we didn't have to do that. We weren't doing that. It was literally Michael Myers opening a door with all his fucking fingers. And we were like, oh, what? Because it's such a character trait now. You blow off two of his fingers in the first movie. They're grown back in the third movie. Clearly something is amiss here. So that kind of thing to pique the interest of fans and to, get us excited and talking about it. What does it mean? What could it mean? What does that mean? And then of course, the test screenings and the leaks from the test screenings, it's not rocket science. This is not, yes, there are some fans that will go hard into the paint and zoom up and brighten and the little analyst thing that's not, yes, of course. But this kind of stuff, piecing the Corey aspect together wasn't rocket science. It's really there. If you're a Halloween fan, it's there. If you're a hardcore Halloween fan, it's clearly there. If you're an average moviegoer, no, right over your head. If you're I was going to say quasi, but not really. If you're casual, if you're a casual Halloween fan, but Jason's your jam. Jason is your jam. You feel about Friday the 13th and Jason like I do about Halloween or whatever, right? Well, then maybe you watch the teaser and you see that shot of him opening the door and it goes right over your head. You're just, no, it's fucking Michael Myers. You know what I mean? But that kind of detail is so important because it's become such a thing, with the character in this new trilogy. So I know that, and myself included, I know that we can be made fun of, and I like to bust balls as well and bust my own balls. But at the end of the day, it's kind of there. Like it's there and you don't have to look that hard. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So, it's kind of like everything is pointing to this. Everything is pointing to Corey. He gets accused of a murder, and this is in the fucking synopsis, so it's not a spoiler. But he gets accused of he's babysitting on Halloween night 2018. The kid that he's babysitting dies. He obviously gets accused of the murder. or responsible for the death, let's say. And he's bullied. He suffers the residual effects of that, the town, whatever trauma that's going to instill on him. And then he starts going down a dark path, and he meets Allison. And of course they share something in common. There's a mutual traumatic event and a connection there at the hands of maybe the same individual, maybe not, who knows? So they bond and they connect over that. And Laurie, and then of course, Corey has a run-in with Michael and starts going down this dark path. And Laurie recognizes that, as a grandmother, as a wise woman who's been through this many times over, she recognizes it. She has moved on. I mean, she's still in those stages. It's only been 4 years. She's still sort of, dealing with those residual effects. And that's where a lot of the character-driven arcs of this movie come from, which is great. That's great. But she recognized that there's something about Corey that she's not really, I don't know. He's dealt with a lot. He's not in therapy. I think he needs to go to therapy. I don't know I don't know if he's right for you. I know you think he's cute, but I'm not really sure. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And then he starts to ascend and, descend and go down further and further into this whirlwind of tragedy with Michael. And Allison might not want to believe it. No, Mom, and Mom, no, Grandma, no, he's not like that, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure that is what we're getting here, but it's not rocket science. I mean, this is stuff that's, it's there. It's all there. And the real question now becomes, how do you feel about it? Well, I think, and again, it's not, there are going to be details and things that will surprise us that we didn't know, right? We don't know everything. We don't know every detail, every nuance of every reveal. Maybe we do, but I'm just saying, I don't want to be so presumptuous as to say that we know it all, I figured it. I'm not, that's not what I'm saying at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm simply saying that the basic, overall sort of general direction here, I think, is what it is. And I think we have to stop kind of pretending like it isn't, like I said in the other, stream and being that, surprise. Oh, I'm so sorry. No, guys, it is. I mean, we got, and, does Michael do a lot of the killing in this movie? I don't know. How do you feel? How are you going to feel? And I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just simply saying, how are you as an audience? And depending on who you are, it's going to hit very different, right? There are casual movie fans that saw The Last Jedi. There are casual Star Wars fans that saw The Last Jedi and thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a spectacle. The special effects were great. The action, and Snoke and Kylo Ren and all this stuff. It was great. I had a really good time. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Luke came back. Oh my God, Luke. Oh, it was great. But then the hardcore Star Wars fans who are neck deep into it, who are understand all the writing, the Halloween equivalent. No, not working. Right? So it really is going to depend on what kind of a fan you are, what kind of a horror fan you are, what kind of a Halloween fan you are. But certainly I think there are things here that, that I think about. Like, how am I, again, it's all in the execution, but how am I going to feel if that is Corey Cunningham by the tree? How am I going to feel if it is Corey that murders that lady up against the wall, that kills the radio? I don't even know if he's a disc jockey, but the guy with the headphones and the vinyl. What if that is Corey? What if Corey is 90% of this movie? And then when Michael comes back, he comes back, and the people that Michael kill are Corey. Michael kills Corey, and then maybe he kills a couple other people just to kind of get his, kind of do some test runs or something. Maybe on his way back, he stops off at a convenience store and fucking murders the clerk or something. I don't know. I'm just saying. But what if 90% of the movie really is what? And how are you going to feel? I'm taking a position where it's like this. It's not a direction I think I would have thought to go. It's not a direction that I instinctually would have done. I can tell you that. I probably wouldn't have approached that direction. But I'm open-minded. I always try to be. I never want Halloween movies to be bad. Obviously, I never want any movie to be bad. I know I love to rib and bust Halloween 5's balls, Halloween H2O's balls, Halloween Resurrection's balls, Rob Zombie. It's fun. It's fun to do. We're just having fun. But at the end of the day, I always hope these movies are good. I want to love these films. And like I said in the other stream, if they are going back to sort of that 2018 vibe, more of a slower burn, more nuanced, more character, maybe even more so, then I think there's potential that I'm going to like this movie just purely based on that. Because for me, part of the original Halloween DNA is that slow burn, is that more nuance, that more suspense and mood and atmosphere, and not so much fucking Terminator Jason Voorhees. I mean, that's fun, and I understand where it's 2022. I understand that appeals to a modern audience. I get it. Like, I get why they did that. But at the end of the day, I think if they are kind of doing more of an 18 vibe, I have a feeling I'm probably going to like at least that part of the movie more, right? You know, oh, that's a great shot. Oh, I love how they have them there. But how are you going to feel? How are we as fans going to feel if a lot of this movie is, oh, that's a cool shot. Oh, emerging from the darkness. Oh, standing by the tree. Oh, yeah, it's great, but it's not actually Michael. You know, he's doing Michael things, or he's standing there watching, but it's not Michael. And then, of course, a hardcore fan would be like, well, then how would Corey know to do those things? Well, maybe it's the evil. I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm just saying how. That's the question for me. The question for me is no longer, is there a copycat killer? Yeah, there is. The question for me is is Corey Cunningham done? No, he is. The question for me now is, how do I feel about that? How do I feel about that? How do I, how do I feel about it? I don't know. I really am rooting. I really am rooting for them. I'm rooting for this team. Like I always say, it's not easy making movies. You know, it's really, really hard, and it's amazing that movies get made at all. It's amazing that good movies get made at all. I guess you could say it's easy to make a movie, but it's hard to make a good movie. It's still not easy to make a movie, but I'm rooting for, I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, but now, less than a month out, there's no question in my mind. I'm not playing the game anymore of, well, maybe it's a dream. No, it's not. No, it's not. She's not having a dream. She's not having fucking, it's not. It's Corey Cunningham. He dresses up as Michael Myers. He probably gets, I don't know, maybe he works as a mechanic. Maybe he goes to a Phelps garage and steals a new pair of, whatever. I mean, that's how, now again, I could be wrong. There's always a chance. We go see the movie and it's like, wow, everything that we thought, all those leaks, all those rumors, all that talk, everything that's been out there is 80% of it is all wrong. It's not Corey. It's not a copycat. It's possible, but it's not even probable to me. I think what we're seeing, it all points there. So now the question is, how do we feel? Well, we're not going to really know until we see the movie, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's jump over to the Q&A now and see what you guys have to say about this. I'm going to get the super chats from the first stream first. That's what I'm going to do. Let me get the, let me just also put the, while I've got you guys live here, let me go to the other stream here and put, during my pinned post, the link to the stream I'm on now. Part 2, link here. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let me go now to, let me go grab those super chats that came in from the other stream because I don't want to miss those. And then we'll, continue chatting here. Where are we here, dude? There we go. Okay. So super chat. Oh, wow. A lot of them came in. Super chat from Andrew Stevens, one of my mods. Andrew sends in $10. Thank you, Andrew. Says, for the channel, love Dave and the community. Been watching since 2017. And now here we are. Dave, thank you for this Halloween journey. Well, thank you, Andrew, for being an awesome dude, for supporting the channel, for being a viewer since 2017. That's when I sprung onto the scene here in this capacity with the Halloween journey. So I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Matthew Farisi sends in $9.99. Says, got to tune in after work. TV spots are showing more mood and atmosphere, but the big question is, will the shape be sidelined? Let's hope not. Also, I hope they don't play things too safe at the end. Well, that's the question, isn't it? About is the shape sidelined for Corey Cunningham? And then the shape comes back towards, the third act, rejuvenated, revitalized because of all the killing that Corey's been doing. I don't know. We shall see. Jordan Ellis sends in a very generous super chat of $49.99. Says, hi, Dave. I saw David Gordon Green say in an interview that Michael has gone away to rot. Oh, that's right. Well, we watched that together. He meets an unlikely colleague, definitely, Corey, and the energy they feed off each other reawakens what he's capable of. Colleague? That's certainly different. Your thoughts? Well, I had talked about it in the last stream. But yeah, basically, again, I wouldn't take it like it's just a descriptive word to sort of try and describe that, it's kind of like Christine, and what Arnie was to the car. I hate to say it, but I think that is where the Christine vibe is actually coming from. So, yeah, we'll see. But I don't think like an actual, like he thinks he's, well, I don't know. Maybe he does. In Corey's mind, he thinks he's working for him. I mean, Jesus freak Bobby Reeves sends in $4.99, says, Dave-O, are you happy overall with the 2 Halloween movies we got so far, especially compared to what we got parts 5 to 8 in Rob Zombie's 2 movies? Well, I mean, sure. I guess if that's the measuring stick, sure. But I still don't think Halloween Kills is a particularly good movie. I think there's good stuff in it, but it's just, again, from a story and structure point of view, and some of the, I just wasn't a fan overall. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I think it's like, yes, some people do think it's a god-awful film overall. I don't think so. I think there's some good stuff in it, but I think 18's far better. So I guess if that's the measuring stick, I'll say yes. Jordan Ellis sends in $9.99 and says, I did see that the film is 120 minutes, so 2 hours of Halloween. Sounds good to me. Maybe some character development. Yeah, I've heard that. Again, it all depends, right? I mean, whether something, there's this, fans love it when a movie is longer, and I think they don't necessarily think of this consciously, but I think a lot of fans feel that if a film is longer, that gives them as fans more time with the movie, more time with the characters, more time with the story, and therefore that's a good thing. Well, yes, I guess so. If that's the measuring stick, you want more time in the world and to spend more time with the movie and the characters because you're excited, then yes, then I guess we would all want 5-hour films. But at the end of the day, is it good for the story? Does it serve the story? I mean, sometimes 90-minute films is exactly where it's supposed to be. We've all watched movies, but at this, we've all watched films. We're like, it needed to be 10 minutes longer, or it needed to be 20 minutes shorter. We've watched a lot of movies, but it depends, right? There's a lot of factors in there because there's some people that will watch films that for somebody it feels long, but for other people it's right on. Right? There are some people that may watch a movie and go, I thought it was 10 minutes too long. But there's other people that will watch the same film and go, no, I thought it was actually perfect because I understand that it was about this or whatever, right? It's all subjective. It can be subjective. There are films that are like too long or too short for everybody. But a 2-hour Halloween film, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that, to be honest with you. Mason James sends in $10, says, the Avatar record only holds because it was released during a time that free streaming wasn't that accessible, but Endgame made its record during a boom of illegal streaming, but people paid to see it. Mason, I have no idea why you're dropping that on a Halloween stream, but I guess it's because you are a staunch defender. You are upset. You're like, no, Dave, you fucking listen to me, man. You goddamn Avatar lover. Avatar is, I'm telling you, Endgame is better because it did this and it did that. I think there's truth to what you're saying, but I don't think that negates the fact of Avatar's success. Avatar. Look, I don't want to get into this huge thing about Avatar, but I will say that there's some truth to what you're saying. But at the end of the day, Avatar still made $2 billion, and so did Endgame. And they both made that money. Endgame was in 3D as well. They both made that money because of ticket prices and because of popularity, because people wanted to go see it. At the end of the day, that's why. That's why they made it. I will never, I can intellectualize the Avatar hate. But to me, a rising tide raises all ships. I get what you're saying. I do. But I still think people would have, I still think people would have gone to see Avatar. Avatar was huge in China. Avatar was huge, or as Donald Trump would say, huge in China. And now China has many more theaters than it did in 2009. Avatar 2 is going to be gigantic. It's going to be huge. Whether you like it or not, Avatar 2 will be huge. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be Avatar 1 huge. That doesn't mean Avatar 2. You see, there's some people out there that think that Avatar has to make $2.8 billion or it's not a success at all, depending on how much it costs to make, of course. But Avatar 2 is going to be huge, whether you like it or not. It's going to be massive. Not necessarily, again, $3 billion huge, but it's going to be massive. Yeah, there's truth to what you're saying, but I mean, if I had more time and I wasn't talking Halloween, I could break it down and give you something to think about as well. Nonetheless, let's move on here. Movie Chat and More, Part 2 sends in £10. Thank you, buddy. Says, hey, Dave, how are you? Doing well. Do you ever think it's funny how people complain about Myers being able to see perfectly in H2O, yet not a mention how these bullets would have penetrated his brain? Well, I mean, again, Richard, I think you can overanalyze and go to a point where we can get very specific and technical. Yeah, of course. And how is Lori, a 60-year-old woman, not getting her ass handed to her when Michael can take down everybody else? I mean, we have to suspend our disbelief. I think. I think I mean, yes, technically you're correct. They would have pierced his brain. He would have been dead. He would have been dead, right? But he burned to death. Why is nobody talking about that? H2O is a film that a lot of people love. Shout out to Wolfman Scott Nards. He loves it. I get it. But to me, I'm not a fan. To me, I could never get on board how they didn't at least, I mean, look, at least, in 4, 5, and 6, at least he had like burn marks. In H2O, he looked like he was using oil Volay 38 times a day. I mean, his skin was so smooth and silky and milky. It was ridiculous. And then, of course, you see his eyes. I think if his eyes had been fucked up, maybe he can kind of still see, but his eyes are fucked up. They look like the prosthetic that James Jude Courtney was wearing. Right? But both eyes or whatever. And it's like, whoa, that's eerie. How does he see? I don't know. That's a mystery. We as fans can suspend our disbelief and stop at the point of, oh, well, but how come it didn't penetrate his brain? No, as long as they've acknowledged it, fans can be very forgiving as long as there's some sort of acknowledgement. I think that's what it comes down to is it's a movie. And as long as there's an acknowledgement, then fans can go, okay. All right, I'll let it slide. Do you know what I mean? But he's fucking walking around like this. It's like, what? I don't get it. But that's me. Let me see here. Diddly-dees. I got that. Gentle on James. Gentle on James. I think I'm saying that right. $5. Thank you. What if Busta Rhymes and Bruce Willis both show up and say trick or treat motherfucker and yippee-ki-yay motherfucker and double team Michael to finish him off? I think it'd be epic. I think it'd be awesome. I'd be totally down for it. Totally. Let's do it. Let's get Busta Rhymes. What's he doing right now? Nothing. Well, Bruce Willis he's not in a good spot, but maybe he'd do it. Maybe he'd, be having a good day and feel like doing it. That'd be funny. Movie Chat and More Part 2 follows up with 2 more and says, watched H2 and H4 today. Such a breath of fresh air after these 2-show trilogy. And then Dave, how many ball caps do you own? Many, like 50. The Masked Man in Black sends in $1.99, says, will you sing me a song in a funny face? No, I will not sing you a song in a funny face. I don't know what song to sing. So, yeah, no. Hey, you asked. All right. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. There you go, man. It's worth far more than $1.99. Evan Heathcock sends in $10, says, came out on break and I saw that I missed your stream by 10 minutes. Was a little disappointed. Then I saw that you're live now. How's it going, Dave? Missed you for the last week. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Doing well, man. Just very busy time right now, but I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, this stream is in 2 parts because the Halloween gods showed up at my door and literally at gunpoint were like, you're not going to show this, you son of a bitch. And I was like, okay, calm down. I was thrown onto my couch and they spanked me and threw me up against the wall. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Spanking? Get the hell out of here, you son of a bitch. And then we rolled over the fucking kitchen counter and I fucking pile drive this one guy and then threw me out and then this fucking team came in and it was a whole thing. I escaped, thankfully, unscathed. Let's see. Greg Pendergrast sends in $2, says, is this a Halloween Scream hybrid, Corey? Is Billy Loomis? I don't get the Scream vibe, but certainly I guess you can draw that parallel. And then Duke sends in $2.79, says, James Jude Courtney stated the end fight is erotic. Thoughts? Yeah, I heard about that. Erotic. Here's the thing with that. Hang on a sec. I'm trying to. There it is. Erotic. I don't know. It's a strange word to use. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know why you would use erotic. I'm thinking as an actor, I'm thinking as a filmmaker, I'm thinking as a performer, I'm trying to think of the situation, everything's coming to a head, it's the end fight, I'm trying to think of why you would use that word, because it's possible he doesn't mean literally, he's trying to paint a picture, and he's like, but erotic? Erotic means sexual. I mean, that is the actual definition of the word. It's sexual. What was sexual about it? Like, did you happen to graze her boob or something? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Do they start going at it on the counter? I mean, is that because they can't? Hey, listen, Michael and Laurie are not brother and sister in this new trilogy. They're not brother and sister. So it's not incest, folks. It's not incest. Could they be? I'm just saying, I don't know. I think I can take this spoiler thing off here. I'm just saying, maybe there's some, it's strange. It's strange, Duke. It's very strange. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Dan of Earth. So you're Dan of Earth. Amazing. I've heard of Dan of Mars and Dan of Jupiter, but I've never seen Dan of Earth. Amazing. Welcome. Amazing. Sends in $5 and says, these didn't really start out this way, despite the claim, but at this point, we are so far off from the true sequel to John Carpenter's original. Sad. Well, that's just the reality at the end of the day, isn't it? As I've said many times on this channel, the more sequels you make, it is inevitable that you are going to... Now, again, they're supposedly stopping at 3. That's good. But it's inevitable, no matter what franchise you're in, the more, especially in the horror franchise, because in the horror franchise, horror franchise, in the horror genre. And especially when it comes to like slasher movies, right? Like when we're talking about the subgenre of slashers and horror, it is the DNA of a slasher. Some are gorier than others. Some are more in your face than others. But at the end of the day, it's about somebody murdering people. Generally, a bunch of kids, teenagers, college, whatever. That's what it is. And you know, it's not like Star Wars films or Star Trek where you can really dive deep into the characters and really develop them over, you know, many movies and years and arcs. Maybe some movies might be better than others, but generally speaking, and you might have one movie that's kind of strange, but generally they're all kind of, you know, not bad and they don't jump the shark, right? I'm not saying that it hasn't. Some people could think that Star Wars has, but I'm just simply saying that you see it a lot in the slasher subgenre because there's only so many places you can go, because at the end of the day, the core DNA of a slasher is just a guy killing people. So how many times can you do that over and over without it feeling like the same movie over and over again? Well, you have to introduce new story beats, new characters. And then what ends up happening? It starts to, over time, become further and further from what it originally was. But that's how you have to keep the story going, because it's not predicated on deep characters, on deep character development, on deep story arcs, and all this big emotional. That's not what a slasher movie is. And I think with these new films, they've tried to sort of, and in some cases I think it's worked, and in other cases I think it's failed, where they've tried to make the Halloween story out to be more than what it really is. It's about trauma, generational trauma, the 3 Strode women. Now it's about Corey and this whole thing. And that's great, but as you can clearly see, we are moving further and further away from that original intent. But that's just par for the course when you continue to go on. That's why I always say to people who want this to go on and on and on, that's fine. But just if all you care about is just Michael killing people, okay. But if you want good Halloween films, then I think we need to start having standards. And I think we need to start saying, hey, that's it. I'm done. That's cool. Now, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. But I don't think there's anything wrong with stories ending. Having a good, you know, it comes to a head. There's a conclusion and it ends, and that's great. Because, yeah, and I do think this is the end of this trilogy. I don't think, I mean, listen, it's always possible 20 years from now, somebody reaches out to Andy Matichek, if she doesn't die, and says, hey, do you want to reprise your role as Allison? And but then who? A 90-year-old Michael? Like, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think we are going to get a definitive end where you look at the ending and you go, yeah, this is the end. It won't be the last Halloween movie ever made. It won't be the last Michael Myers movie ever made. But this, for all intents and purposes, this is it. This is it. And then we'll likely see, however many years down the road, some sort of reboot, remake, whatever. But this is really it. This is truly it. It's the end of an era, in my estimation. I don't think this is like, I just don't, listen, I know, oh yeah, we've had Final Chapter and Freddy's dead. No, yeah, I get that. I get that. But Final Chapter is connected to Friday 5, and it's connected to Friday 6 and 7 and 8. They're all in the same continuity timeline. I don't think you're going to get that here. I don't think you're going to have Halloween ends and then Halloween begins again and with the same people. I don't think you're going to get it. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is the end of this. This is the end of this. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right. Robert Kitzmiller sends in $5, says, let's talk about the love interest between Corey and Allison and potential of Allison being pulled in the wrong direction. I think that is true. But I don't think Allison would necessarily be, who knows? Maybe they will hint at this. My instinct is that I don't think Allison is going to be persuaded to come to the dark side. Like she's going to be persuaded like Corey was to, you know, by the evil and start killing. I don't think that's going to happen, although you never know. I think Corey is a bad egg, and I think he's leading. He's just like he's one. I think based on what I've seen, the dynamic will be similar to like how, you know, a parent has a daughter who's dating a guy who's not a very nice guy, and you want to get her away from him. Do you know what I mean? That's what I think it kind of is. Not that she's literally going to be possessed in the same way that Corey is. I think it's just that, you know, I think she's probably going to feel that he's misunderstood and that he's very sort of, no, he's really nice, Grandma. He's just misunderstood. He needs some help. Because what brings them together, I think, is the trauma. I think that likely it's that common ground. That's what brings them together. And I think she feels sorry for him because, you know, he's charged with this murder, killing that he didn't do. Did he? I don't know. But she believes him and, you know, all that kind. So I think he's manipulative. I think that kind of thing, not necessarily, you know, like, come with me and together we can rule the galaxy. I don't necessarily think it's that angle, but you never know. Dennis Williams sends in $4.99, says, from what I'm seeing with the TV spots and images, I'm 50-50 with this story. I'm fine with Corey, but I don't want more of him and less of Michael. Yeah, a lot of fans kind of share the same sort of thing. I also think because basically what we've been saying this story is really about has been out there now. I mean, since the teaser dropped in July and the test screenings in July and the leaks and the rumors and the synopsis, again, you know, it's not rocket science. And I think that there are people that maybe we're getting used to it. We're kind of coming to the point of acceptance now, especially with these new images, these TV spots, the BTS. We look at this now and we're like, yeah, I think it is. Like, I've been talking about this all night. I'm like, I look at this now as a foregone conclusion. I think this is what it's going to be. I just don't see anything to the contrary. So, you know, it, and because we've known this for a while, I think people are just kind of getting used to it. And now this is just confirmation. But I'm with you. How are people going to respond if the vast majority of the killing is not Michael? It's Corey Cunningham. Oh, sure, he's dressed as Michael. He looks, you know. And here's something else, too, that is interesting that I want to say. And shout out to Darren Sands of The Slaughtered Lamb, who brought this up yesterday on his channel. How is the narrative executed? So what I mean by that is, what position is the audience in? So does the audience know? Of course, we know now, but let's say we didn't know. Does the audience know? Let's say we didn't know anything about Corey, okay? We hadn't heard the leaks, the rumors, nothing, okay? We watched the movie. Is it told in a way that the audience knows that the killings are Corey? Or is it told in a way that the audience thinks it's Michael and then it's a reveal that it's Corey? Those are two completely different things and two completely different feelings for the audience. One position, the audience, in one sense, the audience is in the same position as the characters, where they don't know what's going on, we don't know what's going on, and we're sort of on this journey together. And then the other instance is the audience is ahead of the characters, because I would imagine that once Corey begins killing, that it would be that people would think it was Michael, but it's not. Do you know what I mean? Or is it 50-50? You know, does Michael kill some people and Corey kill some people? Maybe Corey doesn't kill anybody. I highly doubt it. But I'm with you. How are we going to feel if all the cool, awesome, or most of them, not all of them, but most of them, or even a lot of them, like you said, 50-50. What if 50% of the cool shots or moments with Michael that get you excited are not Michael? How are you going to feel? Comment below and let me know your thoughts if you're watching this after the fact. I might make that a social media post too. We'll see. All right, let me go back here. I don't think I missed any. Oh, wait. No, some came in. Oh. No, hang on. I'm getting them. Here we are. Will Oxley sends in $4.99, says, in the BTS, Corey is wearing a jumpsuit on Laurie's porch. He also has the same bandage wrap on his left hand as Myers when he's kissing Allison. Is he in a jumpsuit? I didn't notice he was in the jumpsuit when he was on the porch, but if he is, well, there you go. There you go, right? I mean, I did notice the bandage. But there you go, right? I mean, that's like, that right there is like, I think we have to stop pretending that, well, maybe it's a dream. No, guys, this is what it is. And maybe they've released this stuff now to kind of get some, feeling on the pulse of fandom, like this channel and many others. Maybe. I don't know if they're thinking that deeply about it. Probably not. But you are correct. I didn't realize he was wearing a jumpsuit on the porch. I'll have to go back and take a look. But if he is, well, again, that's just another piece of evidence that is going to convict this fucking thing. We know. Dan of Earth sends in $10 and says, I'd have loved to see H-18 as a psych thriller dealing with Laurie's trauma where we only see Michael as flashbacks and nightmares, etc. In my opinion, a great way to stay true to the original ending, not diluting it. Yeah, that is definitely a more character-driven story than plot-driven. I think that would have been cool, maybe a little more cerebral, perhaps. But I don't think that would have been greenlit because people want to see Michael Myers. Now, can you fit Michael Myers into a story like that? I think you probably could. But I don't think you would have got necessarily like a thriller drama just kind of based around like a Jacob's Ladder, or something that's based around her trauma, the PTSD, the nightmares, the images. I think all that stuff is really good. And I think you can have that in a film where Michael kills people. And maybe this is it. Maybe Ends is going to blow us away, folks. Maybe it really will. I have no idea. We'll see. Mason James sends in $10, says, you always say you don't want to see Michael in a vulnerable state. How do you feel about Green saying that Michael went down to rot like an animal? No one wants to see Michael human and frail. Well, again, when I say yes, exactly, but it's all in the execution. Just David Gordon Green saying that Michael has gone away to rot like an animal or he's, whatever, that's fine. That's fine. But I don't need to see him withering in the corner, in the fetal position, shivering, right? Like I don't want to see that. I don't need to see that. I hope we don't see him. We don't know what happens after he grabs Corey. We see that a lot. We've seen that shot quite a few times in the various TV spots. Is it a situation like the opening of Halloween 5 when Don Shanks grabs the hermit and then he falls to the ground because he's so weak? Is that what happens here? Does Michael grab Corey and he's about to choke him out, but he's so weak he falls to the ground and then Corey steps into sort of his lair of where he's been or whatever? Maybe. I don't know. It's all in the execution. Generally speaking, it's always a good idea never to show the shape in a vulnerable position. Now, again, I need to say this because I've been misinterpreted many times over this. I do not mean not facing resistance. Okay, I don't mean not being shot or fall down or fall off, something or stabbed or what. I don't mean that. That's par for the course. When you are, following people and chasing people and trying to kill them and they don't want to be killed, you are going to face resistance. I'm talking about sort of I'm talking about Michael in a position where he looks emasculated. That's basically what I'm saying. And, you take the way he looks at the end of Halloween 5, where he's kneeling next to a water fountain in chains and his mask still on, and he's playing with his chains and he's like, oh, shucks, I guess they caught me. Like, oh, I don't want to see that. I don't need to see that. You know what I mean? It's not, no, he's all powerful. We should never see him in a state of being emasculated and weak. And that's what I'm talking about, right? I didn't mind the flashback and kills when he's standing there facing all the cops, and we're pulling back, and it's that cinematic tableau, and it's like, oh, what the fuck's gonna happen? Cut to black, that's great. I don't need to go back and see him beaten to the ground and his mask taken off. You know what I mean? We know that happens. We know in our own minds that, well, obviously he was probably handcuffed and thrown in the back of a cruiser or the paddy wagon and taken to the prison. I mean, obviously we know that, but we don't need to see it, in my opinion. For some people, it doesn't bother, but I just want to say that I don't mean that not facing resistance. Okay. It's a very specific thing I'm talking about. Movie Chat and More Part 2 sends in $5. Says Jaws in 3D was amazing. I think you'd like it. I saw the 2D on the big screen in 2019. Best final girl, Rachel or Allison? I saw Jaws at the IMAX last week, and I thought it was amazing. Bucket list checked for sure. And better final girl, Rachel or Allison? Rachel or Allison? That's hard to say. It's hard to say because I don't know if Rachel is a final. I mean, again, it's a matter of semantics now, right? So many people are final girls or scream queens. I think Rachel had a better film and more to do in 18. In 4 than Allison does in 18, but Allison's had more time. So again, it depends what we're measuring, right? We'll see where her arc goes. I think a lot of people would probably like to say Rachel because she was done wrong. She was fucking, yeah. And there's this love and fan affection for the character of Rachel, you know, because we knew that she was done dirty, you know, not in that way, folks. And we want to see sort of that character, you know, it's too bad. Allison, it feels like Allison was more part of an ensemble, but at the same time, I don't know. It's a good question, Richard, but I would probably say who's the better final girl? Depends on what we're measuring. Jake Blair sends in $4.99, says, if the fight scene is as erotic as James Jude Courtney says, do you think we'll see Michael's Halloweener? Ooh. Maybe. I mean, maybe they literally just go full at it right on the tape. Like I said, maybe they're banging each other. I mean, they're not brother and sister. So there's no incest. Maybe that's the end of the movie. Maybe Laurie redeems him by sleeping with him, and he realizes what he's been missing, and he takes off the mask and he starts crying right there in the kitchen. He's like, can you ever forgive me? And she's like, yes, oh my God, I can. And they end up getting married, and that's the end of the movie. That would be crazy. Let's see here. Where is another super chat came in from Scott Mariano. Mariano? Majorano. I think I'm saying that right. Majorano. It's not Mary. Oh, no, it's not. Majorano. Maybe that's what it is. $4.99 says, hey, Dave, have you seen Cobra Kai Season 5? I have. It's amazing how the show refuses to jump the shark. Well, I think many sharks have been jumped from just the first season, especially the second season with that finale in the school. But the reason why Cobra Kai works is because it plays into it, right? It plays into, they play it like Shakespeare. And that's just a saying that just simply means they're playing it straight. They're being serious. They're not winking to the audience. You believe, like, it's so silly and absurd to think that there is this rivalry going on between karate dojos and that one karate sensei wants to take over the valley and essentially take over the entire country, maybe even the world, indoctrinating kids into fucking it's silly, right? You know what I mean? But they play it like Shakespeare. They play it, no, fucking serious. Like this is, and everybody does it. Now, are there sort of a few little cartoony things here or there? Sure. But at the end of the day, they're playing it straight. And I think that is why it works, because very early on, myself included, a lot of us, and I know maybe you But I know there's a lot of people out there that when it did get a little superhero-y and a little kind of sensational, a lot of people were like, oh, we weren't expecting this. Like, we weren't expecting John Wick. Do you know what I mean? Like, we weren't expecting a bunch of kids going, like, what the fuck? Like, they're fucking ninjas. Like, what the hell is... But they didn't back down. They kept at it. And we as an audience, eventually, they kept writing it that way. And we as an audience settled into, okay. It's no. They know what they're doing. They understand what this is. They're just playing it straight. They're playing it legit. Okay, this is fun. I get this. And then we don't, and then we settle in and don't ever have the thought of, well, that's not realistic. Well, that's not realistic. They know that. The writers know that. The writers know the whole thing is absurd. But because it's played straight, we buy into it. And it's fun to watch. And the characters are fun. And the fighting is fun. And just the whole, like, it's like fucking... the way they're so serious about this stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, fucking Terry Silver's fucking Emperor Palpatine in season 5. It's so absurd. But it works because they play it straight. So I like season 5. Yeah, I had no issues. I know some people thought it was the worst of the bunch, but I actually thought it was pretty good. So I don't know. Anthony T sends in $5, says, Dave, I'm confused. Do you or do you not want to see Michael get captured and be emasculated? Well, let me start another 50-minute conversation about this. What's wrong? I don't. But you'd be surprised how many people... Listen, it's the internet, right? People see what they want to see. They hear what they want to hear. They misconstrue your words all the time. Even when you say, no, I didn't mean that. I meant this. They're like, it's the internet. It's, done dirty. Yeah, well, I'm just saying, she done dirty. Not that kind of dirty, folks. Not that kind of dirty. Movie Chat and More Part 2 sends in £2 for the channel. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate that, man. The Tattletale Strangler. Oh, I love that. The Tattletale Strangler. I love it. Sends in $1.99. Says, can we see you eat poo-poo? No. But if you send in $50,000, I will send a photograph of you eating poo-poo. Listen, I'm just saying, if you want to see it, I've got it. It's a Polaroid. I took it last night, and I could send it to you. It's amazing. It's amazing. But don't worry, I'm not going to share it. But $50,000 though, and I can give it to you. Let me see here. Antonis Andriotis, I think I've got it, sends in $5 and says, hey Dave, an Indiana Jones 5 trailer premiered at D23. It did. When do you think it will be available to the public on YouTube? I don't know, but Thanksgiving is usually a good time to release something like that. You know, a next summer kind of thing, Christmas, you know, maybe I could see it also playing in front of Avatar. I mean, they're both Disney properties now, so it wouldn't say Thanksgiving or Christmas, probably. I mean, maybe you'll see it online sooner. It's possible, but if not, definitely before the end of the year. I can't talk today again. Definitely before the end of the year. I'd be stunned if we didn't get it before the end of the year. Okay, I think I got all the super chats. Did I get them all? I think I did. I think I have. The Slaughterland Movie Podcast says, I'm kind of done with Cobra Kai now. It's fun, but it's lost its charm. All the seasons are merging into one blur, like the Harry Potter franchise. I can barely tell one movie from the other. That's a good assessment, Darren. Yeah, I have heard people actually make that point about it. And I can see that. I can totally see that. I think, as I was saying, because of the absurdity of it, it's worked for them, but it's also the kind of thing that has a shelf life. And I kind of wish John Kreese, didn't walk out of prison at the end of season 5. I kind of wish that he actually stayed dead. And how absurd is it that he you know, the way he fake died and the whole, that was so stupid. I mean, I'm like, I just groaned and rolled my eyes with it. But I think it would have been a great ending if he actually did die in prison and they ended it all, because a lot of the arcs felt complete. You've got, you know, Robbie and Miguel who've made up. You've got the girls who now are back together with those two guys. Silver's going to prison. Johnny is going to have a baby with the woman he loves. And he's going to do right this time. You know that it's kind of over. Like, it's kind of over. Do you know what I mean? So I really wish they hadn't hung that carrot there with, oh, but now Kreese is back out. And it's like, oh, but Kreese is done. We're done with Kreese. You know, I know that he was wrongly convicted. I get all that. But I feel that it kind of is over. Like, what are you going to do now? You know? I mean, I know there's the karate, the big world tournament, but I kind of feel like it's done now. That's just me. That's just me. Reese, let's see here. No, movie chat and more part 2. Another £5. Richard, must be payday. Says, would you rather see the Loch Ness Monster or see a Bigfoot and survive? I would rather see Bigfoot, I think, and survive. Reese Wilson sends in $14.99. Thank you, Reese, and says, I want Michael to go out like Nordberg in The Naked Gun, complete with getting his coveralls ruined by wet paint, and we hear his only words, oh no. Can you imagine? His Michael Myers' only words are, oh, no. That would be amazing. That'd be amazing. All right, what time is it? Oh, it's after 9. I got to get going. And then Dennis Williams sends in $1.99, says, do you think Corey is unnecessary for this film? Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the film yet. Obviously, in the story they're telling, he's integral. Do I think it was necessary to tell this story? Probably not. No, they probably could have told a different story that didn't involve Corey at all and just had Michael doing all of the, you know, the killing and everything. But obviously this was a direction and a story that they were really excited about. They changed it up because of COVID, not because of COVID, but because of COVID, they had more time to think about it, to write. And they thought this was the right direction to go in. So ultimately we'll figure it out when we see the film. Mason James sends in $5, says, if you had to direct and write Halloween Ends after what we saw in Kills, where would you take the story from there and how would you finish it? I would probably just keep it the same night. I probably would have kept it the same night and just, it's hard to say because I would not have made 3 movies. Of course, if I was hired to make 3 movies, I would have. I would have probably kept it the same night and had it finished the same night. And then the whole thing would have ended Halloween, or the whole thing would have ended early in the morning, November 1st, like 6 a.m., kind of like Halloween 2 from 1981. But in terms of like, where I would go or what I would do, I don't know off the top of my head. I probably would have had the night continue. I would have brought in a thunderstorm. I would have had wind and rain, and brought in a lot of elements that I had in my sequel concept video, because now that Michael has killed all these people, I would have had him he's continuing his rampage through Haddonfield, but he's elusive because now the police and the cops have the elements to compete with. It's raining, there's thunder, there's lightning, there's wind. They have to compete with that and all that kind of stuff. And I would have brought that in. You could utilize Michael in the shadows and the lightning and the darkness and all that kind of stuff. And the cops and Laurie are one step behind him all the time and all that kind of stuff. So I probably would have brought those elements in, but I don't know. That's just off the top of my head. And Antonis Andriotis sends in $5, says, when will the embargo lift for Halloween Ends spoilers? Well, the movie hasn't officially been reviewed yet, so you're probably not looking until the week of when the movie is released, when it has its world premiere. Because as of right now, there are spoilers that are out there, but they're not coming from any official sources or any critics that, you know, have seen the movie, so to speak. So you're probably not looking till next month. Probably, yeah, when the film has its premiere and when the studio says, okay, you can talk about it now. And maybe that's also why I had Halloween people show up at my door. You fucking shut up, you goddamn son of a bitch. All right, listen, folks, that's going to do it for me here on this I was going to say AMA, but it wasn't really a Q&A. It was sort of this big epic Halloween ends stream. I don't think anything's going to drop tomorrow. You never know. You never know. But usually you can count on things dropping on like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays because those have been proven for social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, to show that there's the most traffic, the most users are online during Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I believe, which is why a lot of stuff tends to drop on those days. Doesn't mean that something won't drop tomorrow, but I'd be surprised if the same volume of shit drops tomorrow. So comment below and let me know your thoughts. What did you think? Or what do you think of all the Halloween stuff that's been dropping? What do you think of the BTS video? What do you think of all the images? What do you think of all the TV spots? Comment below. Start the discussion below in the comment section and let me know. Let me know. I want to know. I want to read it. I want to see it. I want you guys to start talking back and forth and start the discussion in the comment section below. And if you have not watched the first part of this video, go and watch that. That's where we go through the images. We go through the interview, not go through it, but we hear a clip from David Gordon Green talking about Michael Myers and alluding to somebody else. And we also watched the BTS video together. And we got to the almost the very end of the video before the Halloween gods knocked me off the air. But it's still there. Anyway, comment below and let me know your thoughts, folks. Thank you to my great moderators, of course. Cody Snyder, Andrew Stevens, Darren Sands, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Chris Baber. Are there any more? I think I've got them all. Really appreciate you guys doing what you guys do. Thank you to all the super chat questions that came in. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. You know you are. And I will be back soon. I have no doubt the Halloween stuff is starting to build now. This is it, folks. This is it. The big Halloween train and everything is on the tracks. Full steam ahead. Bombs away, ladies and gentlemen. It is an exciting time. This is it. Savor it while we can, folks. Savor it while we can. You're right, Tabitha. It is a mouthful. I'm going to have to figure out how to sort of compartmentalize that or shorten that, I should say. I have to figure that out. Maybe I can just say, thank you to my amazing mods. Maybe I'll just say that. You know who you are. I'll figure it out. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great Friday tomorrow and a great weekend as well. If you want to follow me, if you want to follow me on social media, there are my links, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All my links are in the description. Check them out until your heart's content. And when your heart is content, check them out again. That's going to do it for me. In the meantime and in between time, I will talk to you soon. Cheers.